Hi guys, Irina here and welcome back to my channel where I review everything tech. So, I finally got a new computer, the 2020 27-inch iMac, and I couldn't be happier because lately working on my old computer was just unbearable, and let me explain. For the past 4 years, I've been using this 2015 15-inch MacBook Pro. I got it in 2017, and in general, it's been pretty good. But so far, I've had so many complaints about this MacBook Pro that I just couldn't wait to switch to something different. And speaking of some issues with this MacBook Pro, the first thing is the overheating problem. I edit all of my videos in Final Cut Pro, and when I'm editing, this thing gets so hot that I have to put something like a pillow or a blanket between my legs and the laptop because it gets so freaking hot that the skin on my legs would get red. Also, I had to buy a new MagSafe power adapter for this MacBook Pro because the cable on my old one got burnt over time, and at that point I realized that it actually could end up really bad, and this was one of the main reasons for me to want to switch because this MacBook Pro didn't feel safe. Another thing that was really annoying at times was the lack of RAM, and I have 16 gigabytes of RAM on this MacBook Pro, which is actually not bad, but when you work with video, especially when it comes to some complex effects with tracking and stuff, this MacBook Pro just couldn't handle it, and oftentimes the Final Cut was not responding or just crashed with a notification that there is not enough memory. Another reason, and for me it was the most important one, was that I started having some health issues. I've always had perfect eyesight, but back in 2017, when I just started using this MacBook Pro, my eyesight worsened just in a couple of months of using it. Because the 15-inch display is still pretty small for video editing, especially when you have so many little details and objects on the timeline and you constantly have to strain your eyes. In addition to that, I've got a huge neck problem because when you're working on a laptop, subconsciously you tend to pull your head forward and down to the display of your laptop, which is absolutely unnatural and harmful for your neck. So if you're working on a laptop, please use a stand to position the display at your eye level and use an additional external keyboard. And if you think this is the end of the list of my complaints, wrong, I have two more. One of them was the battery problem, which was most expected because of the overheating and because batteries just deplete over time, so I noticed that the battery life was not as good anymore, and also one day I got this notification saying that the battery's capacity is significantly reduced on this MacBook Pro. And the last thing on the list is occasional sleep mode problems. When I closed the lid of the laptop, it wouldn't go into sleep mode, but instead it would just shut off incorrectly, which is really bad for any computer. And I think so far I've had this problem twice, and every time it took about 3 months for Apple to fix it with a software update, and it was really annoying because I couldn't just close this laptop. Every time I had to shut it down completely and then turn it on again once I needed it. So yeah, these were my main reasons for switching to this 27-inch iMac, and let's get to the unboxing. This box was so huge that it felt like the clumsiest unboxing experience for me. And the first thing you get in the box is that small box, and let's open it right away. Here we have a keyboard. By the way, keep in mind that this keyboard doesn't come with a Touch ID in the corner like you would get on the keyboard with the newer 24-inch iMac. But this one is still pretty good. I like this clean and ergonomic design. I also got a trackpad because after many years with my MacBook Pro, I just couldn't imagine video editing without a trackpad. And honestly, I didn't expect it, but this trackpad is so beautiful. Also, it's pretty large, so I think it's gonna be even more helpful than the trackpad on my laptop. By the way, I didn't get the mouse because I already had it. I swiped it from my family member because he didn't need it, so I have the complete set now. Next in the box we get a cleaning cloth, and a quick start guide. And also a USB-A to Lightning cable to charge all the accessories. Okay, back to the big box. So here it is. The whole setup is obviously super easy. You just need a power cable that you get in the box, and that's it. And now let's talk about the specs that I got on this iMac. I have here a 3.8 GHz 8-core Intel Core i7 processor. I got this standard glass and not the nano texture glass because honestly I didn't want to pay extra $300 for it, and besides my desk is located in a pretty dark corner with no direct sunlight, so I don't really experience any glare related issues. Then I got 1 TB of storage on this iMac because I don't really store my data on the computer. I have all of my photos and videos on the external hard drives, so 1 TB of internal storage is usually more than enough for me. When it comes to graphics, I got the best possible option here. I got the Radeon Pro 5700 XT with 16 GB of memory because I need it for video editing, so I had to spend an extra $500. But when it comes to RAM, as you can see, I went for the cheapest base 8 GB option because I didn't want to overpay for the pre-installed RAM from Apple since it's really expensive, so I just bought extra RAM on Amazon. And I got 32 GB. I've already used this particular brand before on an iMac in my family, so this brand is already trusted, and this is not sponsored. So I just installed these 32 GB of extra RAM on my iMac in addition to the original 8 GB. The whole process is pretty easy. The only thing that could be tricky is the order in which you insert the memory cards. So as a result, I got 40 GB of RAM on my iMac and saved some money. The price for 32 GB of RAM on Amazon is $158, while you would have to pay $600 for the same 32 GB of RAM on Apple. Well, I can't stress enough how much I love my new computer. It feels so different and so much better than my MacBook Pro. The overall workflow has gotten more efficient and effortless for me. The first thing I've noticed was a huge difference in brightness and colors of this display when compared to the display on my old MacBook Pro. This display is so bright and the colors look so vibrant. Another thing was the speakers. They can be so loud and the bass is really pronounced. The 1080p front camera is amazing on this Mac, and I love that I have so many ports here because on my old MacBook Pro I had enough ports. Well, it's never enough, but it was still a decent amount, and I would feel really disappointed if I didn't have enough ports on this new iMac. And most importantly, this iMac is so zippy that the video rendering is so much faster now. That's all for this video, guys. Let me know what computer you're using now and share your experience in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video.